42 different Magpul magazines, 15 different firearms platforms, and 8 different calibers. Yeah, that's a whole lot of PMAGs. Today, let's sort out which PMAG is which, talk about a couple that you might not have considered yet, and we'll share some eye-opening stress test data that you'll have to see. This is Magpul PMAG magazines. Right now though, before we get too far, we need to talk real quick about 3 things: PMAG's durability, reliability, and why the heck these high-grade poly magazines continually dominate the popularity charts. Okay guys, can most of us agree that PMAGs are probably the most widely used magazines out there, especially in the AR-15 world? Okay, so it might be neck and neck race between your PMAGs and your Duramags, especially when you sort any online site like ours by popularity, because those two continually reign supreme. I'm pretty sure that their military adoption of the PMAG and the illustrious military history of metal mags might have a major role in that popularity. So what does the Magpul PMAG lineup have over all the other polymer magazines? Well, they were one of the first to do poly and actually do it right from the beginning, about 12 years or so ago, back in '07. Since then, the PMAG options have grown to this and more, and with that comes over a decade of shooters like you pretty much field testing these things and then sounding off on forums, reviews, chats, whatnot. Enough talking these things up. Let's get into organizing this entire Magpul PMAG lineup, starting first with the absolute most popular PMAG caliber, our faithful 5.56. These magazines probably apply to most of you, me, the larger shooting community as a whole, because of America's rifle, today's AR-15. All right, 2 things here. First, there are 10 PMAGs for your traditional 5.56 223 AR-15. We'll hit on each one in just a sec. But number 2, PMAG MO versus PMAG Gen 3. The PMAG MO line is basically the Gen 2 PMAG that still has everyone's admiration, so much so Magpul continues to manufacture them even though the Gen 3s have been in production since 2012. What did we get with the Gen 3 PMAGs? Well, check this out. You get a slimmed up floor plate, more grippy grips in the front and the back, this really cool little dust cover. Outside of that, you got a slightly different follower and this little over travel tab that those of you slapping these things in other NATO 5.56 compliant rifles, that might be for you. All right, so here's the whole Magpul PMAG 5.56 lineup, starting with those Gen 2 PMAG MOs. There's 2, that's it. 30 round windowed and 30 round non-windowed. Color options, just black here, but then came folks like us here at AT3 Tactical who take cases of these G2 PMAGs, disassemble them, ship them off to be Cerakoted right now in Magpul FDE, Magpul ODG, and of course, hot pink. As for your 5.56 223 Gen 3 PMAG lineup, you got your 10 round shorty, your 10 round in a 30 body, 20, 30, 30 round windowed, and of course, your D60 drum. Guys, this thing is so fun in states that you can participate in. Sorry if that's not you, but if you're keeping count, that's only 9 AR-15 style mags, and the 10th, it's a little more specialized. That's the 10 round AICS pattern mag. Some of you precision bolt guys out there probably already know what it is. That does cover it for most of your AR-15 style platform PMAGs, but real quick, if you didn't know, yes, other caliber cartridges outside of 5.56 223 will fill and feed these Gen 2, Gen 3 PMAGs, most widely used 300 Blackout. There's some other calibers that some folks squeeze in there, 458 SOCOM, the 50 Beowulf. I'll leave you to dig in that a little deeper. Speaking of that 300 Blackout, you could actually go one of 2 paths with Magpul PMAGs. You could stick with your 5.56 PMAG, load your 300 Blackout, but you might want to heavily consider using the Gen 3 versions because of their little paint marker matrix at the bottom. Option 2, about the same cost, a 20 or 30 round PMAG specifically marked for 300 Blackout. That little caliber stamp just might save you from some potential mix-up, and we all know, don't cross your streams of your 5.56 and your 300 black. Skipping past this mountain of 9mm mags we'll hit on in a second, we're moving on to the LR/SR Gen 3 PMAGs. These are your AR-10, 7.62 by 51, 308 Winchester shooters. This is for you. We have a whole series on building today's AR-10 platform where we talk about the 308 pattern compatibility. I'll link it below, but here we get 5 PMAG options. Of course, we get a 50-round D50 drum magazine because America. We get a 25-round windowed, a 20-round, a 10-round, and then there's a 25-round for some non-SAMI spec type ammo. Probably doesn't apply to you. Okay, let's talk 9mm, specifically Glock compatible Magpul magazines, because out of the 10 9mm PMAGs Magpul has for us, 8 of them are designed specifically with Glock magazine wells in mind. All right, there's lots of numbers, capacities, frame sizes in the Glock PMAG family, but let's make it easy. We are talking Glock frames, and there are 2 PMAGs that cover the taller Glock 17 frame, aka the ones that say G17. There's a 10-rounder parading in a 17-round body, and then there's your 17-rounder. Then you get 2 PMAGs for the slightly shorter Glock 19 frames, the G19 PMAGs in this case. Again, a 10-rounder masquerading as a 15-rounder, and then your 15-round. One PMAG is designed with the subcompact Glock 26 frame in mind, and you get a couple extra round capacity than the OEM. After that, you get to the big boys' toys, the larger capacity, double stack Glock mags in 21 round, 27 round, and of course your PMAG D50 drum for Glock. Important to mention here that yes, you can always drop a higher capacity Glock PMAG into your shorter Glock frames, but it doesn't go both ways. After that, there's 2 other 9x19mm PMAGs outside of the entire Glock PMAG family. Your 50-round pistol caliber carbine drum, because look at the neck difference between the Glock drum and the PCC drum. Much smaller package. Can't forget your MP5 style magazine well 9mm shooters. There's a 50-round PMAG for you as well, but that's probably not a lot of you. These next 4 PMAGs are for those of you on the other side of direct impingement AR-15s. We're sliding over to 7.62 by 39. That's right, your AK47 AKM style magazines. And here's what you get. There's a 10, a 20, and 30 round Magpul MOE, remember, Gen 3 for your 7.62 by 39 mag wells. And there's a Gen 3 version with a reinforced front and actually a stainless steel rear lug. And don't worry, Magpul did not forget about the little brother AK-74 style rifles. You get a 30-round PMAG also. All right, we gotta hit on some Magpul PMAG honorable mentions because there's a handful more, about 11 actually, and all but the CZ Scorpion drum and the 35-round PMAG, or that 30-round bullpup style mag. The rest, they're pretty much aimed at precision bolt action rifles. So you know who you are if you fall into one of those camps. Oh, right, we can't forget to mention a couple of Magpul PMAG accessories. Clutch for some shooters, not mission critical for others, but you have your obvious Magpul flagship accessory. That's the actual poles for the magazine base plates in rubber. Hard plastic Ranger plates for Gen 2 and 3 AR-15 mags. Also, Ranger plates for your 7.62 and Ranger plates for the AK mags. And of course, the Magpul mag coupler. I haven't tried it myself, but I'm open to lugging a couple paired PMAGs around the range. Speaking of lugging your rifle around that range, if you had your eye on a Magpul sling, we debrief you on the entire MS1, 2, 3, 4 nomenclature and more right over here. Please go sign up and win some free stuff at the